When Vita gave the cab driver the address, he sniffed and made a face. "I don't go that far out of the city as a general rule," he told her. "Is it so very far?" Vita asked. "It is still in the city, surely?" "You might say it was in the city, but to my way of thinking that's halfway to Royston. The road's muddy, and I've had trouble down those old lanes in the past." He was a sour-faced man with hairy eyebrows and a flat nose. His coat was so mottled with years of weather and mud that it looked as if it had grown somewhere in the corner of a neglected field. His horse, a wary-eyed piebald, snorted and stamped a foot. Vita looked down the street to see whether another cab was on its way. None was in sight. "I could find another driver, perhaps, if it takes you out of your way," she said. "I'll take you," the driver said, "but I shall have to stop at the end of that lane. They throw things." "Who throws things?" "The children from those cottages. I was down there last week with the midwife. There's children there that runs alongside and hurls mud. My old horse don't care for it," he said. The old horse tossed his head in agreement. "I won't be long. You can wait at the end of the lane if you care to," Vita said, wondering whether it was only the midwife who provoked such bad behaviour, or all visitors. The horse seemed to lose all energy as soon as they crossed the railway line. It began at a trot, but was dragging its heels in little more than a walk by the time they approached Agnes's address. The driver was right about the mud. The high road was rutted enough, and the side lane they took after a milestone told them they were 4 miles from Great St. Mary's was a barrier to all but the most determined. "I'm stopping here," the coachman called as they neared a public house. "I shall take a little refreshment at the Cow and Calf. You can find me in the snug by the fire. The place you want is just down there in that row." He pointed his whip at a row of thatched cottages a couple of 100 yards away. It was a cold morning, but bright. The track leading towards them shone with puddles, but there was at least a narrow grass pathway between the ruts. Vita, raised in the Devon countryside, had little fear of mud, but knew a treacherous path when she saw one. It was the kind of track that looked a lot firmer than it was, and might easily suck the boots off a walker's feet and leave them barefoot and muddied to the knees. Nevertheless, No. 3 Ford Cottages was where Agnes lived, so Vita lifted her skirt as far clear of the mud as she could and set off. She was nearing the first cottage, having only once slipped into a puddle that came over the top of her boots, when 3 ragged children appeared at the front door and glared at her. They were dirty-faced and impudently curious. One, a boy aged perhaps 8 years, munched a crust of grey bread. The other 2, both girls with matted hair and grimy shawls wrapped around their shoulders, clung to the older boy's muddy jacket. All sniffed loudly and rubbed their noses on the backs of their hands. "Good morning," Vita said. The children stared, expressionless and unmoving.